Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello, happy Wednesday, everyone.
Welcome.
We've made it halfway through the week.
Yeah, breathe
feels
even.
good. Yeah, welcome to Primetime Local News tonight. Gerard is working on agriculture as always, and I did not know that horses could be colic, but that's your story today.
I learned all about that myself there, and producers really need to watch out for it. So it's part of the Equine Information Night series put on by the Lloydminster Animal Hospital, so we get to find out about that.
All right, great. And in sports, Josh is working on cross-country running.
Yeah,
Seems a bit chilly, but
it was very chilly this morning up in Sandy Beach Park, but it was still a fun time for those out. More than 500 athletes running.
Wow, big turnout.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to both those stories, but first we're going to toss it over to Elise for a look at your local news.
Awesome, thanks Michaela. Last night we reported of a heavy police presence at Range Road 20 near Township Road 494 south of Lloydminster. When we arrived to the closure, police were on site and directing traffic away from the scene. There was also an ambulance that was called in, and the RCMP helicopter was also seen flying in the area. Primetime Local News has made efforts to reach out to the RCMP and are still waiting for information as it becomes available. And the snowstorm caused traffic to stop, leaving dozens stranded in their vehicles for hours. Some of the more serious dangers you can face while driving in a storm are running out of gas and getting stuck in deep snow. Safety precautions you can take to avoid these are staying at home if you can, and making sure you have winter tires on and a battery that is in good condition. And making sure you're paying attention to news and weather networks as information comes available.
I think the biggest thing is make sure your vehicle is roadworthy, make sure you have the proper equipment in your vehicle, and drive smart, and do listen to the radio forecasts.
Equipment you should always carry in your vehicle during winter is a snow brush, some drinking water and a blanket, candles, and warm clothing.
If there's storm with wind, there's absolutely no need to travel. Stay home and wait it out. And I think that's the biggest advice that I would give.
And the Lloydminster Comprehensive Mechanics Program received a donation in memory of Ian Teedy, a former student who passed away last year. As Michaela Henschel reports in this week's Beyond the Classroom, his legacy is helping his friends and former classmates continue their learning.
The Comps Mechanics program got a major boost from the Lloyd Motor Club earlier this week, presenting the program with a check for $4,250.
We're just really happy we could have helped out and were able to make this large of a donation for the school.
While the money is needed to keep equipment up to date, the donation is bittersweet as it was made in memory of the late Ian Teedy, who passed away at the age of 17 last November.
Ian was a real go-getter. He loved mechanics. He lived and breathed for mechanics, and he was always had a project on a go and a different car, it seemed like, every couple weeks.
Right from the beginning, Ian's dad and I identified that if there were any donations, we'd like them to come to the auto shop at the school, because this is where Ian was happiest.
Ian's love of cars will not soon be forgotten. On top of the donation, the school renamed the People's Choice Award last year to the Ian Teedy People's Choice Memorial Award.
So it's a beautiful memorial, and we intend on using the money for some equipment and some things that we need in the program.
My son didn't really understand how many people's lives he touched, and although that's a horrible shame, this is just one step towards, recognizing that he was a good guy and that he is missed.
Michaela Henschel, Primetime Local News.
Beyond the Classroom is brought to you by Lakeland College. Apply to the hairstyling program and take the lead working with clients in the on-campus salon. Lakeland College, leading learning since 1913.
Scott Hartnell has hung up the skates for good. The former Lloydminster Blazer is leaving the game after 17 seasons in the NHL. Our Brett Holden has more.
With flowing red hair, Scott Hartnell was tough to miss when he was on the ice, and he made sure of it with over 1,300 hits in his NHL career. And come July 1st, that was when Hartnell began thinking about hanging up the skates.
So I was, kind of talking with my wife and You know, I have a 4-month-old son, and not that he's talking back, but kind of wanted to spend more time with them and you know, kind of realize and reflect on the career that I've had so far, and you know, time to move on.
Hartnell played a heavy game, but scored 707 points in 1,249 games. And Hartnell says that his time in Philadelphia during the 2010 Cup run was something he will never forget.
You know, playing for Philadelphia fans, they're you know, some of the best fans out there. But you know, just kind of the whole ride, the playoffs, our run in 2010 to the Stanley Cup Finals. Even though we didn't win, it was you know, probably one of the coolest couple months of my playing career.
Hartnell played a season here in the border city for the AJHL's Lloydminster Blazers, where he put up 34 points and 82 penalty minutes in 56 games. And he says that playing here and watching his brothers helped him develop as a young player.
Well, I think it was huge. My development to watch the game, to be around them, watch my brothers. You know, Chad was more of a skill guy. Devin was more of a, you know, kind of rough and tough guy. And you know, I think I kind of utilized both of their games into my game, and really looked up to them and looked up to going to the Blazer games every night.
And as for what's next for Hartnell?
Definitely staying in the game. You know, it's the game that I love. You know, still have a passion for it. You know, I can't wait for the regular season to start here. But I don't know what. Just kind of put my feet up and relax this next little bit, and you know, kind of whatever happens happens.
Scott Hartnell was drafted 6th overall in the 2000 NHL Draft. Brett Holden, Primetime Local News.
And now we're going to go to Brendan Collins, who is hanging out at Home Hardware.
Hi, I'm Brendan Collins here at Home Hardware today with the Seasonal Department Manager, Zoe, to talk about the ways people can prepare their lawn for the winter. So Zoe, what are some lawn care tips people have at their disposal to prepare their lawn for the wintertime?
Well, I would say that there are 3 main steps to prepping your lawn for winter. First step would be to mulch your lawn, mulch the leaves on your lawn, as well as cut your grass 1 to 2 inches shorter than you normally would in the summer. The next step would be to overseed with with a seed that for any bare or thin areas that you have on your lawn. And then the third step would be to fertilize. Fertilize with a winter or fall fertilizer.
All right, can you tell me a bit more about mulching your leaves? What benefit does that have for your lawn?
First of all, by mulching your leaves, you actually expose the lawn to more sunlight. Second of all, as the leaves decompose, they provide nutrients to the soil so that your lawn is ready to go in the spring.
Now, what does watering your lawn do? Should anyone apply water to their lawn before the ground freezes?
That's really not necessary, as unless you are overseeding your lawn, any bare or thin areas, you can water your lawn in order to germinate the seed. But other than that, fall is a great time as the days are warm and sunny usually, and the evenings are kind of cool and dewy, which is perfect moisture content for the lawn.
Now, when it comes to seeding, when and where should you do overseeding for your lawn?
Overseeding can be done on areas that are kind of thin, or like maybe some bare areas, maybe some dog spots you might have. Also, it's a good idea to make sure that, you know, some areas that have been affected by maybe drought or even heavy foot traffic, you can thicken that up by overseeding your lawn in the fall.
All right. Thanks, So. Now let's check back into the studio to see how the weather's going to be.
All right, thank you, Brennan. Currently sitting at 2 degrees here in the border city. We were seeing a couple of snowflakes fall, but I think that should be it for now. We might see a little bit more, but nothing too major. 2 degrees currently. Look at these records, though. Back in 1992, it was 27 degrees. That would be nice, especially for our farmers right now. As we look again to the satellite radar from earlier today, there's that little bit of precipitation that we saw, those couple of snowflakes that were falling a little bit earlier in the afternoon. No watches and warnings currently, which is a good sign. Usually we're seeing frost at this time of the day, but nothing currently around the region. As we look to our numbers, North Battleford currently sitting at 3 degrees. It's a little windy. Winds coming out of the west-northwest at 30 kilometers per hour. Overnight, dipping down to -6, but it's going to feel more like -12. Tomorrow, a high of 5 and cloud covered. Tomorrow, currently in Cold Lake, a little bit of sunshine, 3 degrees. Winds coming out of the west, 17 kilometers per hour. Overnight, dropping to -6, and those clouds are going to start to dissipate. And tomorrow, a high of 6 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Currently here in the border city, 2 degrees. Winds coming out of the northwest, 18 kilometers an hour, and those are going to pick up as we move into the evening. Overnight, dipping down to -5. Going to feel more like -12 though, and to the coldest areas when you factor in that wind chill. Tomorrow, a high of 5 and cloudy. So -5 tomorrow for our low. 24% chance precipitation Friday. Mix of sun and cloud to start off the long weekend. A high of 6 degrees and a -4 for the low. And then Saturday, we are seeing a little bit better than we were forecasting earlier the week. So Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, a high of 7 degrees, so almost to the double digits, -3 for the low. I'll have more details for you coming up a little bit later in the show.
Welcome to Agriculture News. Well, local horse lovers were asking questions well into the evening at the recent Equine Information Night. So let's find out why the topics under discussion prompted such interest.
For example, these little horses are prone to a lot of impactions in the large colon and also the small colon, which is even harder to treat.
The Lloydminster Animal Hospital hosted another in its Equine Night Information series. One of the topics explored colic in horses. Dr. Claudia Cruz, who did her training in large animals in the States, says while colic relates to pain in the abdomen, it could also show up as kidney problems, uterine or testicular pain, which may also present as colic.
So it's mainly pain related to the abdominal cavity or outside the abdomen that acts like colic. So it's a lot of things. Most of the colics are due to gastroenteric problems, so GI problems.
Horses eat constantly, so it could be something as simple as a sudden change in diet.
They ate something differently, that their diets were changed abruptly without being in a gradual way, and then you upset the GI microflora, and then they just go and have colic.
This will sound odd, but vets are happy to see the stool from the horse.
You can also get some information about the presentation of those feces. So obviously if there is blood, then that's not healthy at all. And
owners need to look out for signs of pain or discomfort, sudden changes in behavior or diet.
There's some breeds that are well known to be more tolerant to pain, if I might say, and that would be the heavy breeds like Percherons, Belgian Drafts, all these big horses. They almost never show any pain, but that doesn't mean they don't feel pain.
Dr. Cruz says miniature horses, donkeys, and even mules are very good at holding pain in.
If a horse is agitated, pacing around, circling, pawing, sweating, kicking at his or her belly, going up and down often.
Left untreated, it could result in death, so owners need to seek medical attention for their animals. Well, Canada's meat industry says the new United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is an important step in maintaining competitiveness and growth. The Canadian Meat Council says the importance of the deal can't be understated because the industry is fully integrated. The council represents Canada's federally registered meat packers as well as meat processors and equipment suppliers. It says the ability of Canadian meat companies to compete on a global scale depends on their ability to also maintain and grow the North American market. The council says the industry represents more than $20 billion to the Canadian economy and supports 288,000 jobs across the country. Well, Josh Ryan is coming in next with a look at the sporting news, but first, let's check our ag prices.
City Center Auto Body is proud to offer the paintless dent removal system. This works by going behind the panel, working out small dents. Lloydminster's trusted auto body shop for over 35 years.
Thanks, Gerard. More than 500 runners from across northwest Saskatchewan were in Sandy Beach Regional Park today for cross-country district races. Athletes competed for a spot at provincials, while organizers are hoping this can lead to future events. Cold, windy conditions didn't slow down the hundreds of cross-country runners in Sandy Beach Park on Wednesday.
The Sandy Beach community has got right behind it and have helped us organize, we think, an excellent course.
It's the first race of this kind at the park, which has excited local residents.
In hosting this particular event, we were quite excited because we get people from outside of the Lloydminster community that are really probably unaware the park it exists and has the facilities that we have.
Students racing between grades 4 through 12 range from rookie competitors to possibilities of running after high school.
We'll be running someday with a university program or competing and involved with our national program. We have that level of runners here today at this event, so that's exciting too.
Hosting more cross-country competitions is being planned, and there's other possibilities on the horizon, including events for the summer games.
Participating with canoeing and kayaking and so on, next year even.
We've talked about, possibly hosting provincials or other events that make use of this facility. So.
Right to that finish line, bud.
No, not yet.
Several members of the Lloyd Comp Barons medaled. Picking up medals included Hope Bryson and Jade Cadu in the silver and bronze of the senior and junior girls categories respectively, while Justin and Kyle Mace placed second and third in junior boys. Dawson Smith of Lashburn won junior boys gold, and Jenna McFadden of Maidstone and Paradise Hills Aiden Powell took home silver in junior girls and senior boys as well. And the Barons football team is back in action tomorrow against the Bonnyville Voyageurs with 4 p.m. kickoff at Armstrong Field. The Barons have 2 more games to remain undefeated in league play after defeating the Holy Rosary Raiders on Friday. And that is it for me in sports. We'll send it back over to Brendan Collins.
We just talked about cleaning up your lawn before the snow hits, and now we're on to the next step, which is fertilizing. So can you tell me a bit why it's important to fertilize your lawn in the fall?
It's important to fertilize your lawn in the fall in order to prep it for the harsh winters that we usually have on the prairies. Also to give it a bit of a kickstart for the spring.
So what kind of fertilizers work best? What are you looking for in a fertilizer that you're going to be using in the winter time?
You would probably grab a fall or winter fertilizer. We have various kinds out here. Something with a high nitrogen content is helpful. There are 3 numbers on the bag. There's the N, P, K. So the first number is N, which is the nitrogen content. P is for your phosphorus, and K is for potassium. So you want something to have a sort of a higher nitrogen content so that it encourages sugar storage into the crown of the lawn. It will also protect against diseases, and it gives the grass a bit of a head start come spring.
All right. So what makes a high number for nitrogen? Like what kind of number are you looking for on your package?
Well, here we have various numbers here. We've got them from 27 to 32. Those are usually our highest nitrogen numbers that we have here.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we're going to check back into the studio to see how the weather looks this fall season.
All right, thank you, Elise. Starting off with this beautiful shot of a nice fall day. This was sent to us by Tyler, and of course, if you have a photo of the weather, do send it in to us at Prime Time Local News so we can showcase it right here on our show. Current temperatures around the region. We're going to start up north, 0 degrees in Fort McMurray, -1 in High Level, and then warmer as we move down. Yesterday, Grand Prairie was sitting at -1 as well, but they're at 6 degrees currently and 5 degrees in Peace River. And as we we move to the other side, in the Saskatchewan side, -1 rather in La Loche, also in Buffalo Narrows, and 2 degrees in Flin Flon. As we move a little further across the region, 5 degrees in Jasper, 6 in Edson, 4 in Rocky Mountain House, so significantly warmer than they were seeing yesterday after that extreme dumping of snow in those areas. Over in the Saskatchewan side, 0 degrees in Meadow Lake, 2 in Prince Albert, as well as in 2 degrees in Melfort, a high of 5 in Saskatoon. So it is a little bit warmer than we've been seeing around here. And as we move to the south, 1 degree in Banff, 1 degree in Calgary, and 2 degrees in Medicine Hat. Same with Lethbridge. Yesterday, the daytime high for Calgary was -2, so they have up a little bit there. 3 degrees in Moose Jaw, 4 in Regina. Just want to show this map here. There is still some road closures as well as partially covered roads If you are traveling to southern Alberta in the Banff region, do make sure you are checking those highways. As you can see, everything in red is covered, yellow is partially covered, and then there are some patches of black, which means the roads are closed. So if you are having any travel plans down south, make sure you check out the maps to make sure that you are not getting stranded out there. Tomorrow, though, we have some better numbers to tell you. 7 degrees in Edmonton, same within Vegreville. A little cooler as we move into our region, 5 degrees in Vermilion, same within Lloydminster tomorrow. And that's going to be the same story in Maidstone, North Battleford, pair of 4s in Provost and Macklin. And then as we move a little bit up north, 6 degrees in Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Pierceland. But I just want to show this next 48-hour wind chill because we are going to dip down to about the -12, 13 mark overnight with that wind chill in effect. School day forecast, -3 at 8 a.m. tomorrow, 0 degrees at recess, 2 degrees at lunch, and then 5 degrees when you head home, rather. And then here's a quick look at your 7-day forecast. Sunday is still 65% chance precipitation, a high of 4 degrees. We're going to warm up on Saturday with some sunshine for a high of 7. And then as we get onto holiday Monday, a high of only 2. And then Tuesday, cold because it only a daytime high of 0 degrees. And that's the same story on Wednesday. But right now we're going to toss it back over to Brendan, who's at Home Hardware.
We just talked about fertilizing and how important it is. And now we're going to talk about any other leftover duties that you can fulfill. So can you tell me if anyone can apply weed control to their lawn?
Weed control you can apply to your lawn, but it's not necessary. What you can do is make sure that you mulch your leaves. You can overseed to make sure that you choke out any weeds. And another thing is, come spring, make sure that you tackle those weeds first thing.
Now, what kind of things can damage your lawn if they're left on over the winter? Things like leaves or sticks or anything else? Like, what can they do to your lawn?
By leaving sticks, leaves, rocks, whatever you have, maybe even toys that you've left over the winter, it will just create those dead spots, those bare spots. So you might want to just clean up your yard before the winter so you don't have those rings of dead grass or yellow grass.
And what can people do come springtime when they have rings of dead and leftover grass? What should they do?
Definitely you can rake it, power rake it, reseed it, put a little soil on there, reseed it, and make sure that you water it well.
All right. Now, is there anything else that people need to do for their lawn before the winter time?
Well, another word of caution would be when you are shoveling your driveway, and if you are salting it as well, make sure to sweep the salt and the snow away from your grass. Make sure that you sweep it onto the street and not into your lawn, as it will burn your lawn.
All right. Thank you. Now we're going to check back into the studio to see what's up with social media.
All right, well, today's question of the day stemmed from, unfortunately, yesterday, hundreds of motorists were stranded coming out of in and out of Canmore. I had some friends there that were actually stranded for about 7 hours.
Wow.
So, question of the day is, are you prepared? Do you have an emergency kit in your vehicle, in case you do? Okay, I don't, but I really should. The majority of you do, at least that's what
I got a shovel.
There you go. That's something. That's more than I do.
I have to pick up a shovel, yes.
Well, on our social media, this one's...
Extra blankets.
Oh,
yes, that's a good one.
There we go. On our social media, Bryce said, always be prepared. I heard that somewhere. He even has a Mickey of whiskey, just in case someone's been waiting a while. He said it's been there for years. It's aged now. So I think that, but really the majority of you say, yeah, you do have an emergency kit. And you have one, Josh?
I do, but I want to know, does whiskey age well? Because if it's one of those drinks that
does.
does
It's alcohol.
then you
Never
know what?
goes
Good
bad. And then there you go. You don't even need a candle. Just bring out your Mickey of whiskey.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
I challenge him to imbibe it and start all over again.
Okay, well, there you go. Anyways, you still have time to weigh in on our question of the day on our social media pages. But right now, it's time for a Pet of the Day, my favorite segment of every day's newscast. This is Wyatt, dressed as a teddy bear. That was sent to us by Clarice. Super cute. I think that might be his Halloween costume. And then next, we have Fiona. And I think this was back in the summer because Fiona was on a boat. Looks like a pontoon. That was submitted by Shirley. And then this is Stella. Ooh, she's got a mustache. That was sent to us by Belinda. Stella the Stash. I love it. And then we also have Otis. Super cute. That was sent to us by Joel. And then last but certainly not least, with this fluffy guy, Flash. And this was sent to us by Tammy. Of course, you can always send us a photo of your pet. Just include your name as well as theirs. And you will be entered to win a gift card to PetPad if your photo is chosen.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Hey Lakeland, Justin Marshall from Cool 101.3 with a look at what's happening around the Lakeland area. Today, we're at the Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority Fire Station, and I'm joined with Dwayne Etchier. He's with the Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority, and open house coming up next Tuesday from 4 to 8. Chance for the public to come check out what you guys do, but more importantly, all next week is Fire Prevention Week.
Yeah, next week is a national, actually it's an international fire prevention week across North America. And the message is look, listen, and learn. Be aware, fire can happen anywhere. Just a awareness and educational program for the community, so people can help the fire service actually put fires out by preventing them. Right.
And I know each and every year you guys go to the schools, kind of check your smoke alarms. Are those some of the initiatives this year as well?
Yeah, we always do the smoke alarm. We always teach people about one thing that Station 5 is doing here is actually tonight and then the week after fire prevention, they're going to go throughout the community and knock on doors and check people's CO detectors and make sure, and we'll have a whole bunch of CO detectors to hand out if people need them. For Fire Prevention Day itself, prior to open house, we actually have Mary Lambert sing for fire safety coming to the C2 Center for the kindergarten to grade 4 kids all the way in the MD region. So,
well, all that coming up on Tuesday from 4 to 8, open house here in Bonnyville. If you see an event that you would like to feature on what's happening, please email Justin at 1013coolfm.com.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
All right, well, for this week's trending panel, I am joined with Darlene Crawford. Thank you so much for joining me. And she is about to hopefully beat a Guinness World Record with the longest canoe and kayak parade this Thanksgiving Monday on the Vermilion River. So thank you for joining me today. This is very exciting. So you kind of told me a little bit about the story off camera, but could you tell us how this all came to start? Why'd you want to do this?
Well, one day I was, on Facebook, where everything knowledgeable comes from, and I actually saw a post from a town in Cornell, Wisconsin, I believe, and they challenged the Guinness World Record, and they believe they've broke it and set a new record at 152 kayaks and canoes for this parade. And And just knowing myself and my group of friends, I believed easily we'd be able to break this if we put a little bit of effort into it. So I went ahead and applied to Guinness to challenge the record, and they have a mandatory 10 to 12 week waiting period.
Right.
So by the time I had filled out the application and put in a date, I figure Thanksgiving weekend sounded like a really good time.
Yeah, and so how's the reaction been so far? Because you're kind of inviting anyone and everyone to come partake and hopefully beat this record. So what's the reaction been like?
At first it started off slow because I really wasn't sure, you know, if we had to go much more out of our circle of friends than we did. But as people began to pass this information on and share, we've had people from Lethbridge contact us. The Haskin Canoe Club from Sherwood Park, the Paddle and Pour people from Cold Lake had showed interest when we mentioned it to them. And now it's just morphing into something unbelievable for me to come up with the brainchild of challenging the record. We, I think, are going to smash it now.
Yeah,
so
no
I'm pretty excited.
And everyone's invited to come partake. So how can people get involved if they want to come on Monday?
Well, we are having registration down at the launch site. So you have to access the launch site through the Vermilion Park and come down to the waterfront. We're going to take your name, your age, all of that good stuff. We'll get you to sign an official registration and waiver form. And we'll stage you, and hopefully within a 2-hour time period, we'll have everybody registered. And roughly around 11:30, get the air horn to make the official entrance onto the water. And we'll do our route in a circular pattern and come off the water where we got in.
All right, so what is a canoe or kayak parade exactly?
It is actually by the number of watercraft following each other in a parade route type of situation, and we can go in costume. We can decorate our watercraft as long as everything is safe, and safety is our #1 priority. We actually are hoping it won't be crazy windy that day because there are people that are coming that want to bring their children and have them attend with them. And it's for kayaks and canoes, and we all heard of tippy canoe stories.
Yes,
so we want to be safe. So that'll be our focus that morning, and I think easily we'll be able to say we've broken a record.
Awesome. And so the event is open to anyone, and you're going rain or shine or snow even. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want to partake, make sure you get down to Vermilion Park River bright and early to smash this world record. Thank you so much for coming in, and we look forward to following this next week to see if you did it, and I think you will.
I think so too. Thank you, Michaela.
In this hour, we learned some proper lawn care tips to get your lawn ready for the winter, including cutting your grass, mulching any leftover leaves, overseeding any bare spots or patches, and applying fertilizer. You'll want to make sure that you cut your grass 1 inch shorter than you would in the summertime, and mulching leftover leaves can return a lot of nutrients to your soil. Overseeding bare spots can make sure your lawn is nice and full for the springtime, and you'll always want to find a fertilizer with a high nitrogen content. Other tips include making sure you don't shovel any sidewalk or driveway salt onto your lawn, and picking up any toys or chairs or things like that that can kill your grass over the winter. And if you have any questions, you can come on and see the lawn care professionals here at Home Hardware. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you so much. Great tips for what's to come, because we got some zeros in the forecast. Tomorrow, a high of 5. Friday, the sun's going to come out, a high of 6, -4 for the low there. And then for the start of the long weekend, a high of 7 on Saturday, which is the warmest we're going to get for a while, unfortunately. Sunday, 65% chance of rain, snow mix, 4 degrees there. 2 degrees on the holiday Monday. And then Tuesday, it's cold, 0 degrees as the high, -4 is the low, and then same thing on Wednesday, but cloudy and 0, unfortunately.
Well, your first 3 days, we will take those.
If we could just copy and paste those, that would be nice.
I wish I had that, whatever movie that is, where the guy teleports anywhere he wants when he sees a photo. Just get my old Fiji photo and just go, yeah, I'm gonna go to Fiji.
Yeah, just teleport
get
there.
a timeout.
Hey, but 0's not as bad as -30, and that's to come, so.
Oh, good.
There you go. That you have to look
I'll take the
forward
first
to.
3 days.
We'll see you here tomorrow, everyone. Have a good one.